I don't need to tell you that there are more things we need to do to this. All we need to do is press return and watch it bounce to know it doesn't look that realistic yet. Well, let's continue to work on that. So press return and let's think about what it needs. Right now we do have that nice ease going on where if we turn on onion skinning, and let me show you where you can find that. Again, I don't have a lot of real estate, which is why it's harder for me to find things. But here's my onion skinning. Oh, look at that. I need to, suddenly I lost my screen. I can do that, or I can do this. Pressing down the space bar to move around the stage. Okay. Here's my onion skinning. See, if I hold my selection tool just over, let me fix this a little bit. If I just hover it over this, I can see it says onion skin. I'm going to click on it. And again, just like with the loop tool, you can drag out the brackets. What does onion skinning do? It tells you how it's doing the in-betweens. So you can see that the past, if I put it here and I bring the onion skinning brackets over, you can see that the past is in purple and the future is in green. In each case, there are a lot more balls up here and a lot fewer down here. That's because it's moving a lot slower at the top, and at the bottom it just has this big jump at the end where it really speeds up. Okay, let's turn the onion skinning off. We'll get back to that later. So what we want to do now is squash and stretch it. So where is it squashed? It squashes where it hits the ground. So what we want to do is take our free transform tool. We can click on it here, or we can also press Q. And we're going to select our ball. So we're going to squash our ball, and it's going to squash from our little pivot point. The way we're going to squash it is to just drag this down. So you'll see it's not moving the ball, it's keeping its same relation to this point. It's just squashing down. Okay, that's pretty good. But then we have to think about, here we go, there's the ball. It squashes down, but it seems to get smaller. You notice that? So here's the ball full size, and it's squashing down, but where is all that mass going? We have to conserve the same mass. So this is a problem that we need to fix. And here's how you do it. Right now, if we go here, select this for select the ball, you can see that you have a width of 51 and a height of 51. They're the same. So the X and Y is where it is. This is the size. That's all fine. Then we move here, and again, selecting the ball on the stage, 51, 36. So 36 is like about 15 points less than 51. that means we want to add those 15 points here. So width, we're going to want not 51, but 66. And that way we conserve the mass while still squashing it down. So 66. All right, let's see how that looks. Oops, I made a mistake. I'm going to undo Command Z. Command Z. Okay. Let's see what the mistake I made was. Do you see that little chain here? That means these are linked together. So when I changed the width, it also made the height bigger. I'm going to click on that to break the chain. Type 66. And now press return. And now you see that it's all of the mass of it is squashing out to the side. This makes a lot more sense. And it's like, you know, actually real sense. It's physics, you know. It makes scientific sense. It's not just made up. All right, so I'm going to select the frame before and after because we need to do the stretch. The stretch doesn't happen at the top. At the top, it retains its circle-like shape. As it's moving faster, it starts to stretch, and so it's going to be at the stretchiest right before it squishes. So right here, boom. I'm going to make a keyframe, F6, and I'm going to select the ball to get the right properties. And now remember how it was like 66, what was it, 66, 66, 36. So I'm going to choose, I'm going to basically invert those, 66 and 36. Okay, that's good. So that's stretch. So here we go. It's moving down. It's kind of moving like a drop. It's almost moving like water. Boom. That doesn't make any sense though. Look at that. We'll fix that in a second. Don't worry about it. I'm going to copy this frame. I'm going to control click on it. Copy frame. Select this here. Control click, paste frame. And there we go. So now let's watch how this looks. Return. Oh, problematic. What is going on? Well, let's fix it. What we need to do is we need to move this all the way down. So let's see. Right here is where we need to move this frame down to. This was that idea I showed you before. Was it here or here? It's one of these. Yeah. So we need to have it touch and then squish. Not just squish, like move into a squish. That doesn't make any sense. And then we can let the other one be normal. Okay, so what this means is I have to hold down my shift key, use my selection tool, hold down my shift key, and let's see one more time where it needs to be. Here. Okay. Shift. Does that look about right? Somewhere like here? I think so. Let's see. Yeah, see? That makes a lot more visual sense. Okay, now let's press return. Boom. Let's take a look at this. Down. I know what's going on. What's going on is the ease is changed when I copied this keyframe to here. So what I'm going to do is select that keyframe, and let's take a look at that ease. See, it's in the wrong format. What we want it to do is be fast at first and then slow. This kind of problem solving is the type of thing that will serve you later on. So it's good for you to see my mistakes. That's a good excuse for making a mistake, right? It's a teaching lesson. Okay, so I'm going to press return. Boom, boom. There, that looks great, right? So much better than it used to be. Okay, there's one other thing. Well, there's two other things, and then we'll move on to the last little bit. This is going to move across the stage like this, and one of the other things I showed you before is that we want it sort of tilting in the arc path. So tilting this way and then tilting that way. All right, well, let's take a look at it. How do we do that? Again, it's our free transform tool. So here we want it tilting over to the left. Q for our free transform tool, right? We're going to select the ball here. And our free transform tool, we've seen how we can squish things down. Now we can see that we can rotate things. Do you see how it's making that little circle-y thing symbol? We can rotate things. I'm going to Command Z to go back to where we were. This is how we can make things bigger and smaller. It's to make it bigger. Here we go. Command Z. Up, this is just to stretch it up, stretch it across. And do you see how if I go, it depends on, it changes what it does depending on where you are vis-a-vis the thing you're trying to affect. So let's zoom in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. So if we just sort of hover here, we get the circle. If I go to the corner, it will allow me to make it larger. Go to the side, I can stretch it out, stretch it up. And then there's one last thing we can do. Do you see how it's sort of like a double arrow, double half arrows? What we can do is choose that. I'm clicking down when I see that symbol and I'm skewing it. So there's my ball path, something like that. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. Now this is not going to look so good the way it is now, but you'll see what we do next. That'll make it make sense. And you know what? I'm going to drag this down just a tad. I think it's just bouncing up a little too quickly. Well, there's another way to do that. I can select the ease and make it a little less extreme. Save and apply. Okay, so this is not going to make much sense now, but we'll look at it. You'll see why it will later. So let's just see what it looks like though now. Press return. Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it will. Okay, so that is what we have so far, and in the next step I will show you how to stage it.